Is it on go or is it on three or is it on one?
Problematic.
I'm Marquise.
Problematic. Problematic. Cookout podcast. Here, Sito in the building. Problematic.
It's your boy Juju.
Problematic. Cookout podcast. Problematic.
Yo, what did my man just say then?
Problematic.
Yo, you're listening to Mr. Rock.
Problematic. Cookout podcast.
Yo, what it do, everybody? Welcome back to another episode with your favorite squad. You already know your boy Juju in the building.
It's Marquise.
Yo, Sito's up in here.
And Mr. Rock's right here.
And this is the Problematic Cookout. In the past, we spoke about technology and how our world is quickly changing. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, we strongly suggest that you go back and listen to what we had to say there. Although the advancements in technology will bring some threats, we also do think that there are some opportunities that will be created by things being more automated. One of the solutions we brought up to the table last time was creating multiple sources of income and being a little bit more in control of the money that comes in the door. So we thought, how about we speak a little bit more about side hustles and how you can get started with them. So fellas, what do you guys think about side hustles in general? Because I know we spoke a little bit in the past about this, and that side hustles aren't necessarily for everyone. But your thoughts?
Yeah, I think with side hustles, you really need to know something that you're good at and you're comfortable with doing, outside of work. So, you go to work, 9 to 5, for example. Your side hustle should be something that comes natural, or you have a good connection to enable you to build and make something from it. So it shouldn't be something that's super strenuous, but at the same time, you need to be good, you need to have the right connections, you need to know what you're doing, or it comes from a place of something that you're really interested in.
Yeah.
And you're building off the back of that, and then it becomes something that you could actually go out and make some extra money off the back of. So that's where I see, side hustles. They're on the side. They're not the main thing, but there's something that you could do in addition to bring money in and then invest into other things and, build yourself as a person.
Yeah, I think the people that should be worried about side hustles are people that don't have the time to do it. Like if you have like a newborn, like 1-2-year-old, and you try to do a side hustle, don't do it. You're a CEO of some major company, you're flying red eyes. Obviously, there's no time to do a side hustle there. Other than that, if you don't fall in categories like that, or you're a doctor who's on call or something, if you don't fall in those categories, you should be trying to have a side hustle, because there's no way that you can just survive off of one income unless you really got it like that you would need a side hustle to at least have some fun money to play with,
No, fair enough. I think the main problem though is it's hard to actually come up with ideas. Like you have to sit there and try to figure that out. And I think that's what the most discouraging part about side hustles is. If you don't have the knowledge or know where to even start, that makes it hard. Generally, it is a great idea. You can never say no to extra income. It helps you out in the long run. You can opens opportunities for you to do other things. But I guess the main thing of what we're going to discuss today is really how to start. And I feel like most people get discouraged by the fact that they don't know where to go or what to even look at to even get started.
Yeah. No, and I would actually challenge that a little bit. And you're right. Like knowing where to start is important. And I love the fact that not only this podcast, but there's so many resources that are out there to that will help you on step one. And when I think about it, like I want to challenge that point a little bit, and I think that it should start with your passion. I think that everyone, personally, I think that side hustles are necessary. I think that there has to be something outside of your 9 to 5, and not everyone is working 9 to 5, and some people are working more, on their passion, on some of the things that they genuinely care about and love. But when I think about a lot of people working this 9 to 5, there has to be something outside of that you're really passionate about, that you really care about. that you can turn, that you just have to be a little creative and then start from there and then find out, how can I monetize this? How can I turn this into money? Like, I think about people making millions of dollars streaming themselves playing video game online.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like, I think about have sneakers for me. I love shoes. Most of the time I'm able to make a little bit of money by just finding out where what shoe is releasing and buying and reselling.
Yeah.
So turning things that you really genuinely care about and are passionate about into, how can I supplement my income with this? And I think that there's really two sides to having a side hustle, right? So you can either have a side hustle to just supplement your income and your day job. So maybe you're adding up your bills and you're like, you know what, I have more expenses than I have money coming in the door. So let me try doing something on the side to make a little extra money. Or you can have a side hustle that doesn't make you a lot of money off the bat, or maybe it can make you a lot of money off the bat, but that you want to maybe one day turn into the main hustle, turn into the full-time job. And we can bring up a couple of these examples, but I don't know if you guys have any opinions on any of those right off the bat, or where people should start and whatnot.
Yeah, I think side hustles, sometimes you think about what a side hustle is to the individual. Okay, so we can say, okay, it's something separate to our 9 to 5, as that's how we've kind of described it. But there's other people that will do that and don't even see that as a side hustle. They just see that as more work.
Yep.
That's their job. They have the opportunity. They're going and doing it, and they don't even see it as a side hustle. So I think when I think about a side hustle, it's always something that you've had to build to get into, rather than you were in it before and then now it's come up on the side and you're doing a little bit more of it, if you get what I mean. So that's how I view side hustles. And I've always been someone to have a side hustle because I've always been interested in so many different areas.
For sure.
And one of the earliest side hustles that I had was building computers, fixing people's computers. And to me, it wasn't even a hustle. It was just like someone asked me, can I do this? Can I install this? Can I rebuild this and whatnot? And I was like, yeah, I could do it. And, they give me a little bit of money on the side, or, a favor for favor kind of thing. And it's only later on when the word hustle became more of a day-to-day, part of the vocabulary, then I saw that as a hustle. Whereas before it was just like, something that I do, someone pays me for it, I'm good. But then as I've grown and developed,
Makes sense.
I'm in a similar boat. I love computers. I would take them apart, put them back together, fix them, do all kinds of stuff. And when it came to the point where I was good enough to start doing it, where people would rely on me to fix their computers, and I'd be like, yeah, let me get a little cash. I didn't really care about the money that they were paying me, because I just loved the challenge of, I'm ripping apart a new computer I've never messed with before, and I got it working, and this little reward is cool or whatever. And it came to a point where I really needed money, but I had no acumen on how to charge for my rates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just started snowballing into this thing where now on the regular I'll fix a friend's computer, but now I charge like an exorbitant price, not only because I feel like I'm worth that, but also to deter people from asking me to fix their stuff. I ain't got as much time as I did before to do this stuff.
No, but I think that's important in starting your side hustle, is that knowing your worth, knowing your value, and I think when a lot of people try setting up their business, and maybe we'll speak about this a little bit more when we'll speak about recommendations, is one thing that is flawed is people often try to think about, okay, how can I make this product but make it cheaper And that's not really what it's about. I think that a lot of the things that I learned in business class and what was speaking with business owners is like, no, you want to actually speak about what my product is a little more expensive or my services are a little more expensive, but here's the value added. Because people will actually buy that. People will actually be like, hold on, why is he charging so much? This is quality.
Yeah.
And like focus on really, what about you put in a little bit more time into your side hustle and really make it great, really make it stand out, really make it, one notch above, and sell it for a little bit more than the competition or whatnot. But that you're providing value, not just, it's a little cheaper, but it does the exact same thing, because people will just go with what they trust, what they believe, what they know. And that's a little bit of the psychic behind it. So it is important to know the value of your time and to actually value yourself. But Marquise, what are your thoughts?
And for me, actually, I've never actually had a side hustle. For me, a side hustle was working 2 separate jobs at the same time, kind of thing. I haven't had the chance to actually, think of, what I could actually form into a side hustle. I guess that's a good thing that we're having this topic, so I can actually, figure out what steps I need, get some steps, and figure out what I need to do. But yeah, for me, my side hustle was just getting that second job to supplement some income. When I was in college and in my first couple of years of working, but now after a couple of years of being in different roles, I found that I might not have enough time to go to another job after my 9 to 5. So now is probably the best time to start thinking of what can I do passively to supplement my income and not impact my day to day. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what it should be. It shouldn't impact what you're currently doing. It should just supplement what you're doing. So
yeah, and I think that's interesting, because I think that we spoke more about the growth potential, right? Those side hustles that can turn into growth potential. But like you said, like having a second income, it's not necessarily wrong, Marquise, because I think about some of the side hustles that are on this list. Some of them are something like delivering food with like one of those apps like Postmates, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, all the Uber Eats, whatnot. So that's, for a lot of people, they would consider that a second job, but that's really a side hustle. If you think about it, you're really you own your business. You work when you want. You control. You can make as much as you want or as little as you want. So there's obviously factors that go into that. So a lot of those side hustle go into both categories, where it's quick money that I need, but also can develop into something else, because there's a lot of people that all they do is drive Uber and they're pretty successful. Obviously they've been all impacted by the pandemic, but they've been pretty successful. The other things that are on here are more renting your spare room on Airbnb. Not obviously you need to have a spare room in order to be able to do that, but manage social media for small businesses. That is something that more on a smaller scale, but that may grow into something else in the future. But okay, so I guess like one of my questions would be then, when thinking more about some of the quick wins, side hustles, for some of our listeners that are out there that may be like, I just need to supplement my income so I can get my head above water, right? Like I just want to get my expenses. I got myself so far in the hole. My goal right now is just to get my expenses to be lower than the cash flow that comes in the door. Do you guys have any ideas of some of those quick wins? Or would you recommend to those people, like instead of that, invest in yourself and then think more about the long run? Or
I think that's interesting. I think the first thing I'd probably recommend is try to figure out what are you doing on the weekends, because that's when you have the most free time. If you're working the 9 to 5, that's usually Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You got your weekends. What can you stuff in there? What I used to do before was I used to work at fast food restaurants, things like that, put in some time there, and make that extra cash. The trade-off is you're just not going to be hanging out with your friends. You'll just be making money instead. And obviously that'd be probably a short-term goal to just if you're trying to just clear out your current expenses that are too high, clear that out, and then maybe now, because obviously you're not going to enjoy doing that work, This is just solely to clear out your expenses. Once you've done that, then you can figure out, what can I do that I actually enjoy to actually supplement my income.
Mm.
What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
I think for me, a side hustle has always been me trying something new and seeing if I'm good at it and who needs a service. So a lot of the times I'm a person that likes to use whiteboards, for example,
Yeah.
jot down ideas, thoughts, build on those ideas, ask people questions, and then do some research into like who can support me with this idea that I have. So you could have the greatest idea, but if you don't know how to push it forward, you're kind of like stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But if you share ideas and thoughts, with people close to you in your circle, they will give you, some constructive feedback of, that may not work or this could work, or even if they say that's not going to work, why is it not going to work? Like, I don't like people that give me empty information. Like, if you
Oh, me,
understand
yeah.
it's not going to work, tell me why, so I can then, work around your thoughts and your processes and see if that's actually real. And if it is, I know how to, manipulate or work around it. So, building your skill sets in many different areas. I'm a person that will do anything and everything that I find interesting. I don't really care what other people think. And I'll give you an example of to the levels I go. I've been a rollerblader, 6'5" guy rollerblader. I don't really care what other people think. If I'm interested in it and I want to do it, then I'll do it, and I'll see what I get out of it. And off the back of just being a rollerblader, I've met people from different, backgrounds, and I've been able to, share my experiences and my knowledge of particular areas and get, certain work, as a side hustle side of things. So I think, really be open to different perspectives and points of view. Look at what you're interested in. Look at what your skill sets are outside of your work environment, and then start jotting down that information on a whiteboard and go back to it like once a week or twice a week or whatever it is, because I feel everybody has an ability to have a side hustle, but just sometimes they just don't know how to use it. And feedback from other people can be positive.
Fair enough. But do you think in order to start doing that, someone needs to feel like they're not currently comfortable? Because if you're already comfortable with your current position, you're working your 9 to 5, you're doing your job, you're getting paid. If you're comfortable with what you're getting, you might not be motivated to even start that process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I feel like the side hustle doesn't have to be about money, though.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be something that necessarily brings you more money in, but when I see a side hustle, I'm just thinking about something that actually, has a potential to grow into something that is important to me, right? Like it makes me happy. It could be like spending more and more time volunteering on the weekends, and I guess like we can't really call those hustles, but it's just like, whether it's writing a blog, for us doing this podcast, right? It's something that I don't know for you guys, but for me, I look forward to Tuesday nights every week. That's exciting. Like the edit, it's about us. We're not trying to get someone else's goal accomplished. We're not trying to, it's something that really for us is more than the money. Like we're trying to do something special here. So, yeah, and we don't answer to anyone. We answer to ourselves. Like that for me is the idea of the side hustle. So it's not only to get a buck and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add is thinking about your side hustle and realizing that it's your side hustle. Sometimes you can jump into something and like, yeah, this is what I really want to do. I really want to be committed and focused and try and get the most out of it. But what's bringing in your bread and butter? And the reason why I can say that is because I've been in a position where I've started up a business idea and worked with it as my full time. And then at the end of it, like when I broke it down and everything, I realized that this should have been my side hustle while having a main job.
Yep.
And then supplementing that and building that to a point where it's sustainable, where I can earn enough from that to say bye-bye to the day job, and then my side hustle will be my real job, and then have another side hustle on the side of that. So sometimes, you know, you can really push for something that you really feel energized about, but just figure out, is this going to bring you in the money that you need, or should you start as a side hustle and then build it to then it become your main hustle?
Yeah. And I think that's important because if you think about the idea of creating passive income or all that, and a side hustle and passive income are actually two different things. But before you decide, like, you know what, I'm going to go out on a limb and just build this business, I think that it should be a place where, okay, well, how am I, you know, keep in mind, how am I going to pay my bills? So making an inventory of your bills and just being like, okay, I'm at a point now where my side hustles pay my bills. You know what? Now I want to grow this side hustle. Let me invest more time. And have you guys ever heard of the 80-20 rule?
Yeah. Yep.
So just realizing that a lot of people don't realize that 80% of their, you know, the input comes from 20% of the output. So where to focus your energy, meaning that once you realize that, like, okay, at your job is only, you know, you're putting 80% of your work time there, but it's only bringing in 20% of the money. Well, what if you put that 80% into your side hustles, and then that's how you grow it, right? So just realizing that. But I think that first step is just realizing, where are those hours going? What are you doing with those hours? And really starting it as a side hustle. So just like Rock, you mentioned, that if you're working a 9 to 5, you're working 40 hours a week. Now there's 168 hours a week. So 40 hours a week, that's 23% of your time. Where is the rest of the time going? Are those things really adding value to your life? Because that's why I always ask people when it comes to finances, is like, okay, where is all this money going? Is that money really going towards things that are making you happy? So if you're just spending this time on Netflix, like, okay, Netflix could be a relaxing thing, but could you really tell me that, like, you finish watching Netflix, you turn the TV off, and you're like, oof, I feel good now. Know what I'm saying, like, or is it just like, I do it because I don't really know what else to do? That just fills up the time.
Distraction.
So, well, yeah, it's just kind of a distraction. But yeah, I'm curious to know, for you guys, obviously we have this podcast, and we've touched on that a little bit. But any side hustles that you guys are currently doing, or maybe always wanted to do, and can you speak a little bit about maybe some of the steps to get those started, whether you have done that yet or not?
I guess for me, like I mentioned earlier, like I haven't really dabbled in side hustles as much as apart from having like a part-time job. And I've pretty much just looked at, you know, one of the simpler ones to get started. One of the easier side hustles to get started on would be like food delivery, for example, Skip the Dishes, DoorDash, things like that. So the way that works is, if you have a vehicle and, you know, you basically don't really pay anything to start up. All you have to do is just register, get on the app, and, you know, you're on your way. You can start delivering food and get some income. So I think people should start looking at something that's easy to get started on, because some of your ideas might be, you know, they might be worth it, but the startup cost might be a little expensive, or, you know, you might not, like we said earlier, you might not know how to start. We already have some that you already have like a template you can just work off.
Yeah.
So I'd say the food delivery, or even if you have a newer car, for example, and you can drive people around and run Uber, run Lyft.
You could do that on a bike too. Is that on a
You
bike?
can do that on a bike, yeah. So I'd say, for people like me who, you know, don't really know exactly what they want to do, you probably want to go for the easier ones. Start off with something easy first, something easy to get started on.
Yeah, for me, you know, my side hustle, one of them has been building computers or fixing computers for people. Another one has been tutoring. I used to tutor math in the college setting, not in high school or kindergarten or anything like that. But I used to tutor remedial math for college students that were having trouble getting out of the remedial. And that was a session I would do at least once or twice a month, as the school were trying to recruit, new incoming freshmen and stuff like that and prepare them. They would try to get them out of the remedial. So I would tutor them before they took the test. I would place them into remedial because they wouldn't take the test serious and be like, oh, blah, 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 math. But that was a nice little chunk of change. It was like, a little $100 a session or something like that, or like 3 hours. Mm-hmm. It was well over $30-$40 an hour, so I kept doing it as much as I could, and then they canceled the program, and I was out of side hustle. I have a boy who sells keyboards, like computer keyboards, because that's a very like niche market right now. Guys are ordering these like the keyboard like Logic board, and then they put in their own special like keys. So instead of like WASD and whatever, you get like you could put like an ice cream button and this and that. He's been doing keyboards for a while. He's been making good money on the side doing that. And there's like so many apps now that you can do side projects with, depending on your expertise, like Fiverr and things like this, where someone else just wants input from another person who's more of an expert in the field than they are. So,
can you talk a little more about Fiverr? What that actually is?
Fiverr is a website / app where basically you do quick jobs for $5 a pop. Some people do websites on like Squarespace or something like that. Not a whole developed website, but
okay.
That's like an example of a Fiverr. Some people would just like sing a chorus on a song because they have a nice voice. Some people would like design some like blueprint or something. It's really quick jobs that they'll just do for $5, and you
can they do math homework?
Probably not. There's apps for math homework that'll do it for you, bro.
Word.
She Mr. Rock. Anything?
Yeah, some of the hustles I've done over my time is things like working in a community with young people, and there's two sides to that. Like it's a hustle in the sense of I'm getting paid, not financially. Like there's a part of me that's getting paid emotionally and internally. I kind of feel that was a part of a side hustle, because that opened doors to other areas of people wanting me to come and work with on other projects where I would get paid. So I think sometimes looking at the bigger picture of starting something that you might be interested in, and then see how it can connect to other areas for you to build from. I've done things like photography. Started off and working with one of my friends who was into photography, doing weddings and events, and just me tagging along and having the opportunity to take pictures that will be added to an album, learning from that person, him telling me all the things that you need to be doing with a camera, because there's so many different things that you need to know when you're taking professional photos. Off the back of that, getting other jobs from other organizations, for example, not necessarily weddings, but there may be organizations that are doing an event. They want someone just to be taking pictures. I've been paid at the back of that, which has then been able to pay me back for the money that I've invested and make some money off the back of that. And to this day, I still hold and understand those skills, which I'm now using into doing videography. So I understand how a camera works. I understand all the technical things. I'm still building, and it's giving me the opportunity to start working with other organizations and communicating with people who are in the right spaces that can say, oh, I know such and such, he can do this. I do DJing. I've only just started getting into DJing, but I understand music. I've produced music. I know how music's supposed to work. I know how to beat match. I know how to make sure the right tracks are going together. So all those things I've learned from previous side hobbies are now able to be converted into side hustles. You know, so
Rock,
you know,
I feel like you could do some MCing too.
oh yeah, I can do one, two things. You know what I mean? I can get on the mic.
We gotta set up our own quarantine radio.
Yo, yes, sir.
Yeah, if someone wants me to coach them how to deliver lines, I can tell you. I don't know how to write, but I know how to deliver. And you know, hopefully, a few people that know me will hit me up on this, and maybe there may be a job that comes out of that for another side hustle.
Let's go.
But I've always been in the music industry, entertainment industry, and I just learn as much as I can. And I feel any bit that I learned from different areas enabled me to be more skilled in new ventures that I want to enter into, because you'll learn things that will move into other areas, if you get what I mean. So you'll learn some basics of something, but they relate to another industry or another stream that you want to be going into that have the same fundamentals, so you can cross-reference certain skills that you have. And you know, just being out there, learning from different people. Sometimes, you know, it might not be everything that you want to do, but it might be a little aspect of it. Just working on that, and then, you know, it has enabled me to be in many different things that when I was young I never thought I would have done, but I have done. I'm not saying I make the biggest of money and become the next Dr. Dre or anything like that, but I've made some side hustle money from the connections and the knowledge that I have from growing up.
Yo, it might be the right time to start our rapping career, man.
Yes, sir.
Microphone check 1, 2. What is this?
We've been wanting to jump on these tracks.
Facts.
No, but I think for me, there's so much I've done, and one thing that I've been really passionate, I think, is education. When I think about starting side hustles, a lot of what I've been trying to set up has been trying to do things so I no longer have to exchange my time for money, right? Like, so how do I invest in things like real estate, things like the stock market, so that one day, you know, I can live off of the dividends and the capital gains off those, you know, live off of rental income, things like that. So I don't have to physically, you know, be there doing something in order to get paid and to live that way. But I've also learned a lot throughout wanting to do that, and I just know that for me, I've had to go out and learn those things on my own. So teaching people and educating people on some of the things that I've learned has been something that I'm really passionate about, whether it's from working with youth to working with young adults, and even working with, you know, adults, people like my parents' generation and whatnot, just working with them on some of the things that, like, maybe I didn't know growing up, or that I always say I'm super passionate about the Black community, and not that I don't care about other communities, but that's something that's extremely important to me, and educating them on some of the things that I feel like I had no idea growing up, like things like personal finance, real estate, investments, how all those things work. That I wouldn't say that like I'm an expert by any means, but I do know. I have come to find out a lot, and I want to give that back and teach that back. So I've gotten a lot of opportunities to like publicly speak and so far and whatnot, and that's been really good. But it started where it started. It came from a place of just educating myself, and then wanting to teach one person and just tell them about it, and then that one person is like, hold on, you know a lot about this. I have this group that I'm in. Just so like Rock, like you mentioned, like leading to the next opportunity. And for me, it was just like me telling one person about it for free. And then they're like, oh wait, I have this group I'm a part of, can you tell them about this? And I'm like, yeah, cool. And then like that group is like, there's someone a part of that group is like, hold on, I have like this, you know, this massive thing that I run that I think that you could be helpful with us. And next thing you know, you are making a couple bucks in the back of that, but you don't know where it started. So a lot of people have to get away from like instant gratification and think about the long run, and think about, you know, what that can bring you.
Yep.
So
but-
Juju, would you say a big part of it is kind of trial and error, and when it's an error, you kind of just jump back on the horse and try again.
Oh yeah, bro. Like you kind of have to try stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, and not be afraid to fail. I spoke about it in my intro. Is like I spoke a lot about the successes, obviously, but the amount of time I tried stuff and failed at it, man, it's incredible. Like it's not, and every single time I've learned something from it. Right? Like people have to get away from like thinking like, oh, I have to find, do your research. Obviously don't jump just into anything, but don't just wait for the right opportunity to come. Try things, go out there, dip your foot in the water and be like, oh, this not quite it, and take advice from people. I think that's one of the biggest things. But y'all think that people support these things enough? Like people, if you were to start a side hustle, do y'all think that the people around you, the people that we would call our friends, right, would really support you guys like that?
It's a toss up, to be honest, because depending on how pricey your product or service is, will directly correlate with if your friends can support or not. So I am usually the tech consultant for all my friends. I'm telling them, hey, buy this laptop, buy that laptop.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they'll come to me to like fix their computer, and I'm just like, I'll do it for free, no problem, right? I'm just doing it in my free time. But if I were to make that my side business, they wouldn't be able to afford me at all. So there would be less. I mean, they would still go to me over someone else because of how much of an expert I am at it.
But I guess that is my question.
But
is would they come to you though?
And with my skills, they would. However, it may be a better cost to just go with something else. Like rather than me fix their computer, they might just buy another computer instead of me fixing their computer. If I'm charging them this exorbitant price to fix their computer, so that is kind of like the catch-22 there. But it's a little hard. A lot of people who are doing like the hair care product stuff, I'm seeing a lot of things like beard oils and coconut oil and yada yada in your hair.
Beard oils, you might have to hit me up, man.
Trying
Trying to
Yeah, if you know anybody that does that,
I know like
hit up
several
Marquise in his
people.
DMs.
They've just started doing that this year, and they're selling their product. Yeah, it's at a decent price that they can buy it, but depending on how what's the word I'm trying to say, specialized your services, that'll directly correlate with how well your friends can support you in it.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's if you have the ability to detach who you are as a person from your side hustle, you make the money, because people that are close to you feel like, well, I know you, give me a discount, bruv. Nah.
That's my issue, bro.
My time is my time. You want the service, you can get it from me, who you can trust right now and who will do the job, or you can go to Joe Bloggs down the road who might rip you off and give you half the value. Like, how much do you need this service? And for me, I don't. There's certain people that if I know I can help them move forward and they will be in the same position to maybe feed that back to me when I need it, then I feel like a favor for a favor. I don't mind, because I know it's not necessarily I'm only doing that because I'm getting something back, but I know they're good, genuine people and I might need them at some point. But if it's people that just be like, yeah, Rock, what you saying about one of them hoodies that I seen you design? Give me one for half price.
Bro, like that's
Nah, bruv. The time and effort that I've put in to creating it, unless you're going out to promote it and
for sure
bring something back in,
then it's marketing expense.
Yeah. If not, if you're just going out there to look good in it and not promote me, then you're paying full whack. You get what I'm saying, Marquise?
All right, I see you, Rock. I see you. But at the same time, man, I feel like the support can also come in a non-monetary way. Like they can come out and let's say share your Instagram post, or try to spread the word a little bit. Even with this podcast, like I try to get all my friends to jump on, one, listen to us, and then two, try to spread it out. See someone else who might want to listen to it. And I actually had 2 or 3 people come back to me and said, "Oh, I actually had my friend listen to it, and they liked it obviously because we were great." But
Yeah.
like it could just be something as simple as that. I think that would be a great great return on getting your friends to support you. But of course, monetary support will be great. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think that the monetary support just puts another perspective of support behind it, right? Like it just means like I believe in you. I'm
supporting you.
I think I think it's necessary. I think that, and that's what's so scary about for a lot of people about jumping into their side hustle, because they're like, I don't know if even my close ones are going to believe in me. And I think that it's so important that the people close to you do believe in you. And not to say that just support and all of your friends are starting a business. Well, you should support all your friends that are starting a business, but at the same time, if you believe in the business and you're like, oh, let me get a free hoodie. Well, no, just pay for it. If you believe in it that much, if you think it looked that good, support it, be behind it, and be like, hey, I bought mine. Y'all better go out there and buy yours. Because guess what? Like once, there's 20 of your friends that buy a hoodie, I bet your friend gonna be like, bro, hey, appreciate all the promo and support. Like, hey, here's another one of them hoodies of the new collection and things like that. And it's not that we're not gonna pay it forward, but a lot of people don't realize what kind of like you said, the time and money that goes into starting your business just to get this podcast started. Think about it. We had a lot, all the meetings, all the screw ups, everything that went into starting this.
All the things that we haven't done because we
exactly. And we're still not, we're still improving every week and putting a lot of time into it. But people only hear the final project, right? If you think about like a hoodie, people only see the finished product, but there's a whole lot that goes into it. That's where we're like, well, how about you just support the person, right? But yeah, and obviously we don't ever leave here without giving you guys something to think about or to work with. So we actually wanted to speak about how do you get started, because it can get overwhelming, right? It can get hard to, where do I even start with this thing? So we wanted to come up with some of the solutions. So here are, in our opinion, the 5 steps to starting your side hustle. I guess I shouldn't say our opinion. We did do a little bit of research behind that, and we can link some of the articles that we read in here. But here's our take on what we took away from the articles. But Siddle, you wanna maybe get started on that?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. You want to start off by listing your skills, background, expertise. You want to find an archetype that you fit in. So if you are a very studious person, like me when I was in college and I was tutoring math, and I didn't like math. I don't like tutoring it, but I took such high levels of math. I was like, I should be able to tutor the lower stuff and get a little buck on the side, right? If you fit that archetype, try and be a tutor. You could be a private tutor for someone's kid or some other college student and get a little money on the side. If you are a big bulky guy, you like being in the gym, maybe you could be a good security guard. If you learn some of the protocols, you learn how to stop somebody in a safe manner. You could be a security guard at, not even for like a building as your main job, but maybe a party needs to have a security guard. Maybe a bouncer. You could be a bouncer at a bar or a restaurant for a few nights a week. Just do that on the side. If you're into photography, weddings always a thing. People want to take pictures of a special moment in their lives, and if you can, embellish on that and make the pictures look beautiful, and that's part of your hobbies and stuff, by all means be a photographer. It doesn't even have to be weddings. That was just one example. People like to take like model pictures and pay you to be on a set. There's so many different
headshots for LinkedIn.
That exactly. And with that, you would only be able to figure that stuff out if you list all the things that you do on the side. You know, if you can negotiate well, in like I have a friend who used to sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards like nobody's business, and you know he'd buy a pack, flip it, sell it, trade for a better card, whatever the case is, and you know he could probably be an awesome salesperson. But you know, it's certain skills like that you need to jot down all of your positives, your strengths, figure out some of the weaknesses. Don't focus on the weaknesses and getting better, just focus on your strengths and use that to try and start up your side business. And I'm gonna move on to the next part. I'll leave that to Mr. Rock. What do you think?
Okay, I would jump in there and talk about like how much free time you have to commit to, you know, your side hustle. So many of us will, you know, come back from work and spend a lot of time in doing recreational, you know, things on the side. But then there's a lot of time that we actually do waste in watching these TV shows or whatnot. But if you think about it and you sit down and you think for your day, how much of your day that you can put aside to really focus on something to build in terms of moving you forward with your career or your side hustle. So even if it's like 1 hour a day, I used to come home and say, for 1 hour a day, I'm going to study, or for 1 hour a day, I'm going to read a book, or for 1 hour a day, I'm going to listen to a YouTube channel. So that would enable you to, you know, structure time to focus on building yourself and looking at other opportunities that might be out there for you to build your side hustle. The other point that I would bring up is there's many organizations out there that have opportunities for people to come in and do some of their workload. They may not have someone that does social media, for example, and they can't pay that person, you know, from 9 to 5 every day. But you might be able to go in and say, I have this understanding and these key skills that you may need. Would you like to hire me for a certain amount of hours a week or a month or whatnot? And, you know, just bringing that to them. Sometimes companies don't have the time to go out looking for it. But if you're able to bring it to them and say, I can do this for you, then, you know, you're putting yourself in a position where other people just, you know, sit around waiting for someone to come to them or for it to be advertised.
Yep.
When there's so many opportunities out there if you actually go looking for it. So, yeah.
So at this point, you've, you know, assessed how much time you can allocate, you know, to figure out what your side hustle could be. At this point, you should probably, you know, consider alternatives. If you're like me, who, you know, you're not sure how to start, like I mentioned earlier, you could consider alternatives where, you know, not much input is required to start up. So, for example, driving for Uber, you know, food delivery, you know, easy things that you would consider that, you know, it doesn't take that much skill to start up, but the earning potential is there, and you don't even have to allocate too much time to it. You know, another thing you'd also consider is selling items online. You can just go through your garage or, you know, your closet and figure out, you know, some of the stuff you don't even use, you haven't used in so many years, that could be useful to someone else. And at that point, you throw it up on, you know, Kijiji, like that one lady who threw up the printer that didn't work. Or, you know, you can also use Craigslist. All these avenues are there. You just have to, you know, consider alternative options.
Yeah. And also maintaining a balanced workload, right? We think that the last point that would be important is making sure that as this grows, you understand that, okay, I still do have my main job. Now I'm doing this thing on the side. How much time am I allocating to that? Obviously, if you're going to say, I'm going to do this for 2 hours a day, make sure that you actually commit to 2 hours a day, right? That you treat it just like a business. And a lot of people, that's where the hard time is, because since it's yourself, you have to no one else is holding you accountable, right? But if you're going to say, I'm going to dedicate 2 hours a day to that, actually do dedicate those 2 hours a day, but also know that the 2 hours may be your cap. So if there's new clients that come in and they're wanting some crazy requests, be like, hey, listen, it's going to take a little bit more time, or there's going to be this added cost that's increased because I need to respect my time and, you know, my sanity as well. So have your goals, you know, create smart goals for yourselves and achieve those goals. I think that is also extremely important. But this being said, we got to go because we have business to handle. So we hope that you enjoyed today's episode and took something away from it. If you did, please make sure to give us a little thumbs up, 5 stars, write a little review, as this helps our channel tremendously. It helps the podcast. And make sure you follow us and subscribe. We need you to follow and subscribe. So hit that button right now as you listen to this. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook as usual to be a part of our community there. But chefs, this was another episode with the Problematic Cookout, and we're signing out. Peace.
Later, y'all.
Get
Catch
your
you on the
hustle
next
on.
episode. Make that money.